Hello and welcome to the Wealth Legacy Blueprint Podcast with your hosts, Richard and Andrew Hanson. I'm your producer, RJ Malik. Andrew and Richard, welcome. Today we're going to we're going to get to know you. Let's start with introducing yourselves, and then we'll talk about your background. Richard, we'll go with you.
Well, I'm the most established one, 43 years in the business, which, I take a look at that now, and I used to be the young guy going to certain things, and now all of a sudden I'm the mature. I don't use age or old, but so I've been doing this for 43 years, and certainly just absolutely love it. And I had the extreme benefit and privilege and blessings to bring around the guy that's on the screen there, who's been with me for 8 years. And from my perspective, it's been a joy because of all the things we've done during my career that I'm able to pass it on to that next generation. I'm not going anywhere soon. I'm hoping to get 50 years in the business, which means I'll be 75. God willing, I'll get there. And then two grandsons that hopefully will carry on the name. So I'm just blessed and happy to be here.
Andrew?
Hi, yeah. My name is Andrew Hanson. I think RJ, you should pick up on some cues that I learned with Richard in our seminars. Is when he rambles on. If you've ever seen the movie, have you ever seen the movie Up?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so when there's a talking dog and he gets distracted, he goes squirrel. I always do Rich. I always say squirrel, squirrel. But with that being said,
True.
again. I've been doing this for about 8 years. I got on board with Rich in the beginning. I did a year with another insurance firm, big mega corporation firm. Wasn't a huge fan of that. So, I mean, prior to that, I grew up in San Clemente, played high school football, went to college at Menlo College on a football scholarship, played offensive line and tight end. So I was a third string tight end for the two tight ends that were ahead of me were twins. So one of them got hurt.
Oh.
My one play as a tight end, I caught the ball. All I had to do was not fumble it. I fumbled it. They picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown. So that was my short stint at college tight end. Studied business management up there. Yeah, like I said, and then I started with a big mega corporation before I got on board with Richard. And, I joke around with Rich, but, I'm extremely, extremely humbled and so lucky to have, family and a boss and a friend like my dad, Rich. So, we'll poke fun at each other, but, I have the utmost respect for what he does and what he's created. And yeah, he's we refer to him in that household as bad grandpa. He takes the kids, loads them up with sugar, and then throws them back in my house. So I get to deal with that ramifications. So
I can relate to that. My dad did the same thing. He just felt like it was his job to exact revenge on his kids, and
yeah, he uses that word a lot.
Payback.
Payback.
Yes,
like,
payback because of and I have to take a step back and say, well, we all deserved it because we drove our parents crazy. So I understand, but that's funny.
Yeah,
I teach them all the bad things.
It's funny that he's teaching them like how to do like 90s Tupac hand signs and just the most absurd things that I can't. We don't do that in public, buddy. We don't do that in public.
That's a fine line, though.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and we try to carry that kind of family orientation in what we do in the business. And I think Rich can kind of attest to this, but sometimes you're just like doing just loads of workshops, seminars, meeting with clients, and then you kind of don't get a chance to step back and be like, man, we are so lucky that we get to work with. I mean, my boss, I love him, which is weird to say. I don't think a lot of people get to say that. So it's
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there's two sides of the coin, and I think Richard can attest to that. There's growing pains to that, and we learned a lot about each other and the family dynamic, and it's fun. It's fun to look back on, but I think I should get a squirrel. I think I need to get a cutoff. So
So remember that squirrel.
Okay. No, this is
yeah,
yeah, the squirrel. Okay, so if I yell squirrel, you
yeah, yeah,
know that we got to stop.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, let's Richard. I'm going to go back to you. How did you get started as a financial advisor? What was the path for you?
Well, it's interesting. My path was similar to Drew. In when I graduated from high school, I got offers to play football, Division II schools. Ultimately, settled on Cal State Northridge out in the San Fernando Valley because it was close to my home in California. And incidentally, my coach at the time was Jack Elway,
Oh,
John
wow.
Elway's
Yeah,
dad,
yeah, yeah.
before he moved on to Stanford.
Right.
So I played there, and the kids will laugh and giggle and say, I had a 5-year scholarship and I graduated in 7. And I enjoyed myself a little bit, but ultimately I graduated and became a teacher and a coach. That's what I always wanted to do, and so I taught for 1 year, and I also coached girls volleyball, football, basketball, those kind of things. And I had the summertime off, and there was a guy that I had known who I played football with who was in the financial services business. And he contacted me about investing in teachers' retirement accounts, 403Bs. And through that discussion, while I had the summertime off, he said, "You might be good at this." And so at the time, I got licensed really quick and did that during the summertime and then never looked back. And so that was August of 1981.
Wow.
And like I said earlier, it's been a blessing because over my 43 years, we're now working with second and third generation folks from the ones that I originally worked with. And so that's part of our name, generations. We want to make sure that we can pass to the best of our abilities and within the framework of the laws that we have to pass those generational earnings and savings from one generation to another. And it's been really good. I was also a certified athletic trainer during the time period that I was teaching. So I know enough about sprains and bruises and things of that nature that my good buddies I've known 50 years call me Doc. And of course, I charge them for that. But it's been a great run. And certainly we've got a lot more years to it. And, like I said, I'm so blessed to do the things that we do. It just is amazing that you can see the folks you've helped climb that mountain from 43 years ago and to see them do the things that they're doing now, enjoying retirement, enjoying their grandkids. And then the opposite to that side is when they leave and they either have issues with long-term care and or life insurance, or excuse me, death. We're there, and we've been able to help them through that traumatic thing. So, it's just fantastic. I miss coaching and teaching, but certainly this has been a fantastic opportunity, and I think we've done our folks right. Like I said, I'm so blessed. So.
Okay, Andrew, let's go to you and your path to where you are now. How did that go? Because it sounds like it wasn't a straight line.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty standard. I worked for a publishing and professional development company for teachers in Southern California, and I worked there for about 5, maybe 6 years. I was one of the assistant managers in the warehouse. So I was like 21 to 28, I think. I was there for about 7 years. And I think just like after 5 years, my back was gone and my legs hurt and just I was just sore and I'm like, okay, Dad, what is this? What is this thing you do again? Like, can I, shadow you for a day or something like that? Because I was a little hesitant only because it seemed like kind of like actuaries or accountants or just numbers based, and I'm just like, I want nothing to do with that. But then the thing that I saw the most is my dad, his personality when he works with people or just friends. He's not the actuary accountant type. He's got the numbers to back him up, but he uses sort of imposes his personality in what he does. And so for me, that was kind of like, okay, I can bring out my personality. I don't have to be like numbers, numbers, numbers. It's, a lot of people can do the numbers, but what he does is he takes a care and concern and really a need to address people's worries and fears for financial future. So that was something that kind of clicked with me. And I think, the first day after working with one of those large firms, I was in the office with Rich, and after that year experience, I'm like, oh God, okay, I'll just stick it out and see what happens, because I wasn't happy with that firm. It's just like, call numbers, move on to the next one, call numbers, move on to the next one, call numbers, move on to the next one. Um, but I share this with a lot of prospective clients. But my reason why I do it is I came into Rich's office. I got my suit on. I'm ready to go. I got my nice clean shoes. And he's like, "All right, get to the filing cabinet." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I get to the filing cabinet and go through all the names, A through Z, and I'm just going down these names, and I see my t-ball coach, my friends' parents, my people we go to church with, and just pretty much the whole community of San Clemente, and a lot of different places throughout the country. And it's just that kind of stuck out to me, where it's just, you're not, these are clients, but at the end of the day, they're really family. I mean, a lot of clients prefer to keep it on a client relationship basis, but but that's just their personality type. More often than not, we tend to grow on them. I think I say we, but I mean Richard tends to grow on them and be inclusive. And yeah, at the end of the day, they're part of our family, and we look out for them just the way we look out for each other. So, um, short question, long answer, but I think that was kind of what propelled me to really take this thing seriously. Was to it's more than numbers. Anybody can do numbers. A lot of people have calculators. They have historical balances, but to stay on top of it and be there for the clients, that that really is the biggest reward for what I do.
So you saw that because you worked at another place
Yeah,
and you saw how rigid it could
yeah,
be. And then you saw what your dad was doing and you saw the difference. And that became a big attraction to wanting to join your father's
yeah,
or work with your father.
yeah. And I just wanted to, before I got into family business, was learn, boots on the ground with a firm, or and just they were just like pumping out numbers, and it's like, if you don't get this person, go to the next one. If you don't get this one, go to the next one. It's just a lot of cold calling and phone calls, a lot of don't call this number, I'm going to call the cops. Um, so I mean, and it's part of the what we do is you got to reach out. Sometimes you'll get immediately rejected. That's part of it, but it's just like the cold kind of just, okay, move on to the next one, move on to the next one. Oh, okay, cool. We got numbers here, numbers here. We can move this, move this. I'm trying to sell this. I want to get this out. And it just, for me, it was just like, this can't be, this can't be it. So, going there on that first day. And then I think, the first couple of years, I was just sitting there and learning with Rich. I didn't want to, and Rich can attest to kind of our dynamic. And I get asked a lot when we do when we go on different business trips throughout the country, and we work with other advisors, and they're always asking me, how's that relationship with you and your dad? And I mean, Rich can attest, like those first 2 years, I was a total a-hole. Like I was just so arrogant and so like just I think I just was too big headed, and I just came in like, well, he doesn't know how to do, PDF conversions. So clearly I'm going to take over. And it's just like, no, dude, like, and I was young, I was like 26. So, 26-year-olds olds are, they're not nice to deal with. So, and it took, a couple years for me to realize, okay, this is how it works. This is, you want to put the client first. And I mean, I mean, at the end of the day, Richard made it seem so seamless, and he's been doing it for so long. So it's kind of just comes natural to him.
Family businesses, working with family is always a challenge. It's interesting. As I think I talked before we started recording, my dad was a manufacturer's rep. He was a salesperson, and he thought I was going to follow in his footsteps as far as going into that field. And of course, I did not. I went into radio, and he just, that blew his mind. And that was part of the reason I did that, because I was in a rebellious state.
Yeah.
Okay, what will aggravate my father? Oh, okay, I'll go into radio, and that's what I did, and here we are. Over 30 years later, I'm still doing it on a other basis. But the thing I wanted to ask you, Richard, when Andrew, or I should ask, who approached who as far as working together? How did that come about?
Well, I approached Drew because you get lengthier in your time in the business, and you now see further down in years. And I wanted to be in a position where I pass this on to someone. My daughter's artistic. There's no way that she would have done this. She's just in a different realm. And so I kept working on Drew, and I kept working on him, and letting him know that this is probably a good fit for you. Your personality, number one, you care about people. Like he mentioned, numbers are numbers. You can draw a circle around my office 20 miles. There's 100 of us. What's going to differentiate those people from what we do? Well, we all have the same licenses. But if you don't care and you don't buy into the process of them first and leading them on that journey through retirement, you won't get any further. And he was built for that. And really, I worked on him not really hard, but harder towards after about 2 years. And then actually, I took him on a complete day, which included probably 6, 7 meetings. We had a dinner meeting, a breakfast meeting, a lunch meeting, and things in between with new customers, clients, older clients, younger clients. And at the end of the day, I just sat there and I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "I get it. Let's do this." Because he saw the relationships. It's not about numbers. Those are important. Otherwise, it can't get you to the end. But those relationships, and just a brief story because it happened yesterday. I had one of our clients was my second client I ever got. You're going back 43 years, him and his wife, and they live out in California. And I try to talk to everybody at least once a quarter. I'm on the phone with him yesterday, and he said, "We're not doing real well. The wife has got macular degeneration, all kinds of slowly going blind, and he's 88, she's 86." And he said, "Do you know of a place in Henderson? And do you have any deals? Do you know of anybody we can get deals on hotels?" I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, we're going to have to come down in a couple months and do it again over a 3-day period, probably 4 times, where we need to go get treatment for this doctor who only does it. And he's in Nevada and he's world renowned." And I stopped him right away and I said, "John, we've got 2 huge master guest rooms in our house." I said, "You ain't going to any hotel. If we're in town or we don't have people coming in, you are coming here." And I'm an emotional guy, as Drew will tell you. And what he said, "Rich, you're more than an advisor." He said, "You're a friend." And regardless of what I've been able to do for them, to get them at this stage, that's the payoff. When someone says that, that says that we're doing the right thing. And it touches you. And that I'm most proud of. I mean, we've got awards of excellence and this and that. But when you get things like that, that's what's important. And I knew Drew had the heart for that. And, I guess that's my story with Drew, but the payoff is those kind of things. And I'm not patting myself on the back. I just know that I would rather have those people here, and we can assist them and help them and get to the things that they need to. And that's because they're family. And that sounds cliche-ish, but they're family.
Yeah.
And the things that they said
Richard, do you feel
were
your
touching.
No,
I'm sorry, Andrew.
it's funny
Go ahead.
because
Go ahead,
think
Dan.
like a couple months ago, I was talking to a new client of ours, not even like, Rich said his second client, but one we had maybe for about a year and a half. And, I sent him emails because Rich and we do correspondence separately. So I just sent him an email to follow up and say, "Hey, this is how your account looks," so on and so forth. And he's like, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to be up in town next week. I'm staying at your dad's." I'm like, "What?" It's like, it's
That's right.
so,
That's right.
if you think Richard's just doing that with his, old time clients, it's, it's he backs up his word when he says, clients are more than family. So it's like little hotel casita Hanson out there. So, you know,
That it
I'm
is.
sure somebody's going to watch this and go, I'm going to call Rich and be like, yeah, I want to book a stay at the Hanson household.
That's
Yeah,
that's true.
I got a
Yeah.
golf tournament.
Yeah.
I got a golf tournament I have
Yeah.
to go to. Do you mind
And
if
I've
I
got the
stay?
golf cart all
Uh,
cleaned up, so we're ready to go.
there we go. Richard, do you feel your background in coaching helped you with what you're doing now? Because it sounds like, as a coach, you're always trying to improve someone, whether whatever sport it is. You're looking at their play and you're saying, okay, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. Do you think that was a big help for you and how you approach clients and your business?
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to where we've been able to go in life, to the skills, not only from me coaching, but more importantly, my coaches I had. From Pop Warner to high school to college. Matter of fact, just again the other night came into town one of my coaches who's 87 years old. When I was in college, they came into town, and so we went out to dinner with them and had a great time. And I kept telling them, I said, I would not be the individual I am today without the things that you taught me about overcoming adversity, perseverance, never give up, never quit. I can remember a couple of times. I'm 6'1". At the time I played football, I was 280. I was an offensive guard going against a guy who was 6'7". Ended up playing in the NFL. Um, and I knew watching film I was going to get that. Just I'm getting killed. I'm not going to do anything really well. But I remember that coach knowing that my mind was going there, and I had a great day. The guy didn't have a sack, didn't do anything, but the skills I've learned from those coaches through the years have been real important. And I think also working with clients, because everyone's different. You can go up to a player and, hit them in the butt and yell at them. They'll be motivated. You do that to another person, they're gonna clam up. So I
Right.
think the skills I've met from
Yeah, I tried that once at a new client meeting, but that didn't work out so well.
So yeah, so I think coaching has helped me from a perspective of the mentors I had coaching, and then hopefully my coaching techniques have helped Drew, and it helps me relating to our clients and friends, and hopefully we're doing a good job.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about you coaching. Do you remember? He loves telling the story, and he's got a photo of it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the kid from modern day
No,
is
no,
that?
no, not that one.
Oh, the
That's a,
baseball one.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Yep. Well,
Well, do you
you
want to
tell
tell
the
that
story.
story, or
Story.
I mean, I was 9, so hard to
Well,
recall, but um, we were playing, I think, like AAA Little League ball, and we were playing we had the Dodgers, so I just remember that, and then I remember Rich put me at pitcher, and I think I beamed like 3 kids in a row, and so his thing, he had to, take me out, and for me, it's like, no, I'm good, I don't care, I'll keep going, and he kind of walked me behind the. This is what I'm recalling, so fill in the blanks. Walked me behind like the bleachers and just like was just like just you could tell he was more heartbroken than I was that he had to like take me
wow.
out. And he has that photo. Somebody took a photo of it. I guess I could send it to you guys. Maybe you have it.
That's a great picture
And you could
because
just
it's got
see.
his name on the back.
You could see in his eyes,
Yep.
it's just like, I'm sorry, dude, but you're gonna kill somebody, but I gotta lay down softly. So that's kind of, I got to do some coaching too, growing up, but that was kind of his mentality and like how he deals with, that's, it hurt him, but he had to, get through that and persevere and teach me a lesson. So that was something that kind of comes to mind.
Well, sports is great that way. I played sports in high school and college, mainly lacrosse, And it just was a great teacher. In fact, my college team, I was a walk-on. I wasn't recruited. It was D3, so there was no scholarships or anything involved. But everybody was recruited except for myself and who now happens to be a really good friend of mine. We were the only two who no one knew, and the coach didn't know who we were and stuff like that. And we both ended up playing for 4 years. It's a great teacher because you have to overcome adversity and you have to adjust.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that is something both of you have to do on a regular basis as far as adjusting to your clients' needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Richard,
and particularly in today's market, because each and every day is a new opportunity, a new problem, a new issue. And again, you can't approach those problems, issues, concerns unless you address them specific to the folks that you're talking about, because everyone's different. I'm gonna look at something differently than you two will. We have similarities, but yeah, I think that's the biggest part of what we do is to try to put ourselves in those spots. And again, it goes back to that coaching. And I will add a caveat to what Drew said, and I'll make it really quick. I brought him in. He was the best player we had, and we were running out of pitchers, and I knew he could throw the ball harder than anybody. And we'd worked him a little bit, so I put him on the mound, and they were ahead of us. We weren't going to win. And he threw the ball really hard. I think he struck out the first guy, hit the second one, walked the third one, hit the fourth one, struck out another one, and then hit like two kids. The umpire called timeout. He came over to me. He goes, "Dude, you got to get rid of that kid. He's going to kill someone." And I remember Drew, just little crocodile tears. And I know that picture. I was on my knees, and you could see the back of his jersey. It said Hanson, and his head was down. And I was just looking at him, and it hurt me more than him because, he thought he could go in there and just strike out everybody on the team, and you can't. But those are learned lessons. What we did learn is he wasn't going to pitch anymore. But other than that, it's great.
Fantastic. That's a great story. Richard and Andrew, we're going to wrap things up. Is there anything else you want to add to our little get together here? Richard, I'll go with you first. Anything?
Nope. Being a rookie on these kind of things, that's why I've got Drew. I barely know how to use my email. My staff will attest to it. I'm not allowed to touch paper. As long as someone tells me a specific time I got to be here, what to do, I'm good. But I'm just happy to be part of a great organization and a great future going forward with Drew. And, hey, life's good. Very
okay.
blessed.
And Andrew, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah. For technical issues, I will handle all the emails and websites. So you can follow us, or you can visit our website, www.generationswealthmgt.com, or you can email me directly at andrew@generationswealthmgt.com. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot more of these. You can check us out on our YouTube videos. That's all within our YouTube channel. And just looking forward to what we can do together and just, I'm excited.
Fantastic. I am too. I'm excited to be working with both of you. This was a great session, and I look forward to hearing, you share your information and your thoughts on how people can, what you do is you help them get ready for later in life and help them improve their lives. So I'm looking forward to this. And we'll have another podcast coming up soon. As you are listening to today's Wealth Legacy Blueprint podcast, please like, follow, and share this podcast with friends and family. And until next time, I'm RJ Malik.
That's a wrap on today's episode of the Wealth Legacy Blueprint. Don't be a stranger. Hit that follow button to stay connected. Got questions? Need some personal finance tips? We're just a click away at www.generationswealthmgt.com or give us a ring at 1-833-948-2466. Remember, it's about more than money. It's about your journey to financial freedom. Stick with us for more real talk and real strategies to make your financial dreams come true. Opinions expressed here are our own and our guests, not necessarily those of Generations Wealth Management Group. This podcast is all about education and not direct financial advice. For the nitty-gritty on your own financial situation, always chat with a professional.